Robin Hood economics, tax the rich, impoverish the UK. Flint West reporting from the macro frontier. Well, folks, it's finally here. The most seductive policy proposal of the modern political era. A wealth tax. Tax the rich, they say. Just 2%. Surely they can afford it. Robin Hood economics has ridden back into town, but this time he's not robbing the sheriff of Nottingham. He's torching the village to chase gold that isn't even there. And the villagers? They're cheering. Right up until the jobs vanish, the bins stop getting collected, and their council services collapse into a pothole the size of fiscal reality. So let's break this down. Slowly, clearly. And if you're among the 75% who support a wealth tax, you might want to buckle up. This ride's powered by numbers, not feelings. The setup, a policy that sells itself. The UK Labour Party is floating a 2% wealth tax on individuals with assets over £10 million. Sounds fair, right? Only hits the mega rich. Brings in somewhere between 5 and 11 billion pounds a year, they say. Enough to buy a few headlines. Maybe a few more teaching assistants. But here's the truth. This isn't a tax. It's a trigger. The threshold mirage. Today 10 million, tomorrow 130,000. Wealth taxes never stay still. In Norway, it started big and noble, then slid all the way down to the equivalent of 130,000 pounds. Own a modest house in London with some savings? Congratulations, you're rich. Pay up. This is how it always plays out. Thresholds drift downward. Inflation does the dirty work. Politicians reframe rich until it means anyone with a pulse and a parking space. The liquidity lie. You're rich on paper, but cash poor in practice. Ever tried paying a tax bill with shares in your own company? Or with your family's antique ring? Or with the value of your garage business that earns you £60,000 a year? You can't. But that's exactly what a wealth tax demands. You, the business owner, the builder, the employer, now have to cough up £200,000 a year because someone at HMRC slapped a multiple on your life's work. Doesn't matter that your actual take-home pay is half that. Doesn't matter that you're barely keeping your staff employed. You're wealthy, and that's the end of the conversation. So sell your house. Liquidate your company, or leave. The exodus begins. Builders leave, bureaucrats remain. Norway tried it. 80 of their richest business owners left in the first wave, straight to Switzerland. Not tax evaders, not villains. Just rational actors unwilling to bleed for optics. Result? Norway lost the equivalent of £500 million in tax revenue after trying to raise just £100 million. Sweden tried it too. Decades of stagnation. Wealth tax abolished in 2007. But sure, Britain's different. Britain's special, just like every collapsing empire thought before it. Second-order collapse. You don't tax the rich, you evaporate the system. Let me spell it out. When the rich leave, value-added tax drops. They spend less. Income tax drops. They stop paying staff. Corporation tax drops. They shift headquarters. Business rates vanish. Empty shops, empty streets. Public services shrink. Bins, libraries, welfare, good luck. And the kicker? Those foreign investors who buy UK assets? They don't pay the wealth tax. So guess who now owns Britain's businesses? Not Britons, not you. The mathematical joke. 5 billion won't save a 1.3 trillion budget. At best, you raise 5 billion pounds. That's less than half of 1% of the government's annual spend. It buys you about 1.5 days of funding. In exchange, you detonate investor confidence, drive out employers, and collapse the very system you're trying to fund. That's not fiscal strategy. That's fantasy. That's looting the engine to buy fuel for the headlights. Envy is not an economic plan. This isn't Robin Hood. This is a feel-good fantasy wrapped around a fiscal time bomb. Taxing the rich won't fix broken hospitals. It won't fix a productivity crisis. It won't reverse 15 years of wage stagnation or global capital flows. And if your plan begins with, they can afford it, you've already failed to ask what it will cost you. Because the wealthy will be just fine. But the teachers, the nurses, the kids in overcrowded schools, they'll be the ones picking up the tab for your moral victory. Final dispatch. So go ahead, cheer for the wealth tax, paint it in populist colors. But when the jobs vanish, the shops shutter, and the UK becomes just another X-power bleeding talent into the wind, remember this moment. You didn't tax the rich. You impoverished the UK. Flint West, reporting from the macro frontier, where second-order consequences live, and fairy tales come with receipts.